Welcome back. Today we're diving into a truly fascinating explainer that breaks down the massive technological shift happening right now as we push deeper into 2026. We are actively transitioning from an era of just generating content to an era of autonomous execution. Honestly, it's a complete game changer. We're moving from generative AI to agentic AI.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. First, we'll define what these AI systems actually are. Then look at why we desperately need agentic AI, how it works under the hood, its key features, and finally, the main takeaway, execution. All right, let's jump straight into part one. What are these AI systems? Let's cut through the jargon. So there's a stark contrast between the traditional reactive chatbots we've been using and this new wave of proactive systems. Think about it. Generative AI kind of just sits there and waits for your prompt, almost like a bored teenager, right? And then it generates some text, an image, or some code. But agentic AI, it's proactive. It makes independent decisions to actually execute a complex, overarching goal without you needing to hold its hand every single step of the way. To really grasp the broader system, we first need to define a single AI agent. Basically, an AI agent is a system that pairs a large language model's knowledge, you can think of the LLM as its brain, with the ability to take physical action in the digital world. It does this by using external tools. So, say an LLM doesn't know the weather today because its training data is cut off. An AI agent can reach out, hit an internet search API like Tavily, fetch the live data, and report back. It literally takes action. Now, zoom out a bit. Agentic AI is the wider, encompassing system. It's this autonomous environment where you've often got multiple specialized AI agents actually collaborating, communicating with each other, and conducting complex, multi-step reasoning to pull off a massive goal. It's a lot like a digital assembly line. The crucial point here is that generative AI hasn't gone away at all, not even a little bit. It's simply acting as one piece of the puzzle inside these larger agentic systems. An agent might use generative AI to, say, write a quick email or summarize a transcript, but that generation is just one small tool being pulled from the tool belt to accomplish the larger mission. Moving right along to section 2, why we need agentic AI. We're bridging the gap between knowledge and action. The best way to think about this is through a brain versus hands analogy. Standard LLMs? They're brilliant brains trapped in a box. They give you a ton of knowledge, but they have zero hands to actually do the physical work. You ask an LLM for a travel itinerary, it writes a great one, sure, but you still have to go book the flights yourself. Agentic AI bridges that gap. It gives the AI hands. It takes the knowledge and physically executes the tasks via API integrations. In the real world, this translates to systems doing the heavy lifting for you. Picture an agentic system that takes a YouTube URL, passes the transcript to one agent, has another agent write the title, another the description, and then literally publishes it to your blog. Or think about HR onboarding. Instead of just answering a new hire's questions about sick leave, an agentic system can autonomously book a welcome meeting in Outlook, spin up the intern's profile in Jira, give them Slack access, and order a laptop from IT. It's actively executing work across multiple enterprise platforms. It's wild. Okay, section 3. How agentic AI works. Let's peek under the hood at the technical architecture. Every agent requires a very precise recipe made of 3 core components. First up, the brain. An LLM like GPT-4 or Claude to reason and process natural language. Second, the memory. Standard chatbots are kind of like goldfish, right? They forget everything once the chat closes. Agents use dedicated memory banks to store conversational history and context. And third, the toolbox. These are the literal API functions it can call to interact with the world, like create Notion page or search internet. When you give the system a complex goal, it triggers this pulsating feedback loop. Step 1, the system creates a plan. Step 2, it executes a tool call, maybe pulling some data from an API. Step 3, and this is absolutely vital, it reflects on the results. If a coding agent writes a script and it throws a bug, the agent reflects, self-corrects, and tries again. Only when the goal is fully achieved does it actually move to step 4 and respond to you. And honestly, the best part? You don't even need to be a senior software engineer to hand code this from scratch anymore. Tools like NN and Zapier provide these amazing drag-and-drop user interfaces. You can visually orchestrate these multi-step reasoning processes, literally snapping together an LLM, a memory node, and a Jira API tool right there on your screen.
This sequential handoff is what we call dynamic multi-agent routing. When you submit a huge task, an NLP classifier first figures out what you actually need. Then, a dynamic router passes the work down a sequential assembly line. It might hand the prompt to a specialized planning agent, who then passes their blueprint to a coding agent, who finally hands the finished code over to a testing agent. They communicate and pass control seamlessly. It's fascinating to watch.
Which brings us to Section 4. Key features of Agentic AI. Let's look at the superpowers of autonomy. These are the literal superpowers separating agents from standard chat interfaces. An agentic system doesn't just generate text, it engages in goal-oriented planning. It makes autonomous decisions on which path to take. It leverages external tools to alter the real world. It uses memory integration so it doesn't have to start from scratch every time. And, maybe most impressively, it utilizes relentless iteration and self-correction until it gets the job done perfectly.
Now, I know what you're thinking. What if the AI does something it shouldn't? Well, you can easily build in what's called a human-in-the-loop workflow. So before the agent executes a highly critical action, like, say, permanently deleting a database or sending a company-wide email, it pauses. It pings you with a message asking for human feedback and approval, which ensures you always remain in total control of the execution. No runaway systems here.
Let's wrap this up with Section 5, the main point: execution over generation.
If you take away just one thing from this explainer, let it be this. Generative AI is for content creation, while agentic AI is designed for decision-making and execution. We have already largely solved content generation, right? The massive cutting-edge breakthroughs there have happened. The entire tech landscape is now hyper-focused on turning that intelligence into a proactive workforce that actually executes manual labor.
So as we push further into 2026, I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder. Take a hard look at your own day-to-day work. What manual, multi-step, tedious tasks in your daily life are about to be completely handed over to autonomous agents? Because the shift from generation to execution, well, it isn't just coming. It is already here.